welcome back. And we have Kathy Akers with us this morning, Fathom Realty. Good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good this morning.
Well, Christmas is upon us.
Yes, it is, whether we want it or not.
That's right. It's coming. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk about some things that, as a new homeowner, if you've bought a house this year, some tips and tricks for your first year in your home.
Okay.
And these are good ideas for anybody that has a home or rents, that kind of thing. Some of these we've talked about in the past, but it's just a good idea to kind of put some things together during that first year. And we're going to start with, did you change the locks on the house when you bought it? You know,
Oh, that's smart.
you know, you get the keys and you're so excited, but you know, there could have been duplicate keys. You know, I know both of my kids have keys to the house and that kind of thing, but you know, I had a key to my parents' house even though I hadn't lived there in years.
Right.
So, you know, there may be keys floating around that you're not aware of. So, you know, just go ahead and have those locks changed. If you've got a home warranty, check to see if they cover that, because some of the home warranty companies will cover changing the locks. If you're somebody that loses your keys, maybe think about going to one of those new coded key entries.
Right. I need one of those.
You know, they now have them that they're, you know, you can open with your mobile device or they're voice activated, that kind of thing. So look at your options, but that would be one of the things to take a look at. The next is learn where your utility shutoffs are. So water, is there one in the house, or are you going to have to go out to the main shutoff at the street if you're living in the city? What about for your well? Do you have a cutoff? You know, those kinds of things. Also think about, is there a shutoff for your gas and some of those other things. So,
yes.
You know, look at those. Check your electric box. Make sure that you know what each one of those shutoffs are for, and are they labeled. Use ink, don't use pencil. I know a lot of the builders will pencil in and not put them in ink. Go ahead and ink it in, because that pencil fades.
Exactly.
And you want to make sure you know if there's something going on, you need to shut those outlets off or whatever.
You don't need to have to sit there and guess.
Guess, right. So go ahead and make sure that those are labeled correctly. Create a toolbox. You know, I know when my son went off, he didn't really have anything. Mm-hmm. One of the nice things was when my kids went to college, a friend of ours bought each of them one of those little nice toolboxes that everything, you know, they open it up, everything was in there. And they went to college with those. And so now that my son is, you know, in a house, he's been picking up some tools. So here's some ideas. Besides your toolbox, of course, you want to put somewhere to put everything. A claw hammer, because the claw helps to pull nails out. A crescent wrench. It's small and adjustable. An extension cord. Make sure it's for outdoor use. You want to have at least 25 feet. A flashlight with extra batteries. You want a heavy-duty one in case you drop it. The other thing to do is get those lamps that you can, headlamps that
Yes.
you can put on. You know, a lot of the hunters use them going in and out of the woods in the dark. But if you're crawling around, you don't have a hand for a flashlight.
Yes.
Get one of those type.
They can be very handy, and they're bright.
Yes, they are.
Very bright.
They are.
Which is what you need.
How about a flathead screwdriver, a level, handheld size? You don't, yeah, if you want a big one, fine, but you know, something handheld. A Phillips head screwdriver, pliers, they are locking and adjustable. A power drill with drill bits. They have some nice ones now that they have the rechargeable pack,
Sure.
so that kind of thing. A putty knife, safety goggles, and that I should have put at the top of the list.
Yes.
Heavy-duty scissors, a tape measure, minimum of at least 12 feet, work gloves, and a utility knife. And we're going to throw in a bonus here for all you guys that are the handymen. How about a cooler? And that way you can have your cool beverage right there beside you while you're working.
While you're working.
Or right after you
Very
finish.
good.
After you finish that. So, but those are some things to think about putting into that kit so
Yes.
that you have them when you. So you have things available, because you never know what you're going to need.
You don't.
And so fire extinguishers. Fire safety is always a big thing. You would want, if you've got more than one level, you want to have at least one per level, but you also want to also have one in the kitchen, because that's where the majority of the fires start, is in a kitchen. You know, cooking, those kinds of things. So have something available. Make sure everybody knows how to use it,
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
You know,
but that is a great gift. I have given one several times to young homeowners in the family. It's just a great gift to give.
It is. An emergency kit. I mean, you know, we're past hurricane season, that kind of thing. But go ahead and have an emergency kit available. You know, we get ice storms here pretty bad sometimes,
yes, you never know.
And it knocks out the electricity for a while. So go ahead and build an emergency kit, and make sure you have those documents in like Ziploc baggies and that kind of thing, where you know everything's at. Create a home inventory. I've talked about this before. Take photos or create a video. Just walk through room by room, give a description, read off serial numbers like on the TVs and things like that. But you know, go ahead and really document, because if something happens, that's the best way to work with your insurance agent, is having all of that information and having it documented. Or if something happens, you know, you've got documentation on that. Keep a copy in a safe box. You know, have a little box that you keep important
Sure.
papers. If you don't have a safe deposit box at a bank, have
Yes.
some kind of little safe at home that you can put those things in. Home maintenance how-tos. There are some things that you know you can do around the house. Those DIY channels, you know, or
Yes.
Google it. You know, they've got great channels that you can do that with. But if it's a big repair, you know, go ahead and get that person in. And I always say, anything electrical, you want to get an electrician in, because
Yes.
you want to make sure that it's done correctly. Have a home repair log or maintenance log, so that you're keeping track of, okay, I changed the filters this day, so that kind of thing. Or we replaced the hot water heater in 2013. Did you know that some of those hot water heaters don't, they only last
Right.
about 8 to 10 years. So, is it time for that water heater to be replaced?
And you do not want it to burst.
No, you don't.
Oh, you will have the biggest mess.
That's right. So get your home log. That also keeps you on track for, how about, we always talk about in the spring and the fall having your heating and air conditioning systems changed.
Yes.
So we're leading into that. Get those maintenances done. And if it's on that log, it kind of helps remind you to take care of those things.
Right. Yeah, I think we need a cleaning every year, don't we, Kathy?
At least
unit.
On the unit, a thorough cleaning, but have them check it at least in the spring and in the fall. That way then, you know, when it switches, you want to do it before you have to turn on the heat or before you turn on the AC.
We had to get somebody to my house this year. As soon as we turned it on, it wouldn't get hot. I said, what's going on? And it was cold that day. I
That's
said,
right.
dear me. So if I'd have done it in advance, you know, but I didn't. And then I looked.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, somebody was at my neighbor's house. I said, okay, here we go.
That's right.
We didn't do what we were supposed to do.
And it could be as simple as anything. We had ours serviced recently, and a mud dauber had clogged up one of the little valves that...
The darndest things.
It's just, you wouldn't, you know, things you wouldn't even think of. But
right.
Think about those. As far, you know, clogged drains, those kinds of things, you would be surprised how much damage a clogged drain could.
Yes.
Or, you know, if a toilet drips, how much water you are using. And I've mentioned that before. Set a home budget. Go ahead and start saving now for those expenses that, you know, that are going to come, you know.
Right.
Unless it's a brand new home, you know, you want to make sure you know, if you're not sure the age of the roof on the house you bought, you know, now's the time you start putting some money aside, because, you know, a roof can really run you some money. So, and if there's any unforeseeable expenses with that, because they don't know until they start pulling all that, the shingles off and all of that kind of thing, to find damage. So start putting aside some money for a home maintenance fund kind of thing.
There's so many ways, Kathy, we can be proactive.
We can.
And you can save yourself a lot of money by doing that.
Yes, and you know, and those things happen so unexpectedly. You know, you don't know when your heating and air conditioning unit's going to go out.
Right.
You know, storm damage. A lot of times that's going to be covered under your homeowner's insurance, but sometimes these things happen. They're not covered under your homeowner's insurance.
Right.
You know, I've talked about home warranties. They help cover some appliances, but even there are certain things that a home warranty doesn't cover.
Right.
That's more for your mechanical appliances and those kinds of things. That doesn't cover a roof. Right. Or rot from around windows and those kinds of things. So get into a regular maintenance schedule.
Yes.
Each season there is something that you can do. But also some things to keep, you know, for that first-time home buyer, putting your bills on auto pay. Your mortgage, your utility bills, all of those. So much easier. And also talk to a tax professional, because there are some tax breaks, as in with your mortgage interest and points and property taxes and those kinds of things. There's some deductions that they can take, and that helps you in your we're headed into tax season.
Yes,
you know,
we are.
That's just around the corner. So make sure you know where your closing documents are, because you'll want to take those with you to your accountant or whoever you use as a tax professional to help you go through some of those things to see if there are some deductions you can take. Help keeping your home just running smoothly, and you know, it's just a matter of thinking ahead, planning.
Absolutely.
And like I said, these are even good for, you know, people that have been in homes for a while. You know, these
are good reminders to us that have owned a home for quite a while.
You know, so get back out. I know it's cold and wet today, but you know, as you're out in the yard picking up, you know, looking around, you know, just take a time to look around the house and see if there is any maintenance issues that you need to address. You know, it's the biggest purchase most people ever make.
It is.
So take care of it. Don't let things, you know, get past you. So if you stay on top of things, it helps take care of you, and you know,
And it alleviates a lot of stress.
Yes, it does.
On the
Yes,
way
it
to
does.
work, the pipe burst.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and I've had
Plumber
that.
says, I can't come today, it'll be tomorrow. What?
That's right, and I've had that. Our water heater actually is in an upstairs attic, but it's over top of our garage. And as I opened the garage door to go out into the garage, there's water coming down out of the ceiling. So of course, you know, we knew what it was, so ran and turned the water off.
Right.
Because I knew where my water turn off was. And, you know, had to call and get a plumber. You know,
Exactly.
nowadays, you know, we're getting those colder temperatures. You know, make sure that you've got those water hoses disconnected from the outdoor spigots and those kinds of things. You know, take care to make sure that you've got, especially on those cold nights, open the cabinets to your sinks. Have, you know, have one dripping, whether it's in the kitchen, a laundry room, wherever.
Yeah, because frozen pipes.
You don't want to have to
not
deal with
fun.
those. Are not fun, and a lot of the plumbers do not want to have to crawl
Right.
under a cold house to fix those if you've got them.
Exactly.
So,
And another thing I'll say, Kathy, if something does happen and you see water running out of the washing machine pipe or the hot water
right.
heater, don't panic. That's
Right.
the worst thing you could do, because then you're not going to think, oh, I need to shut the water off. You're just going to pick up the phone and start calling, and the water's running.
That's
cut
right.
that water, cut it off at the
water shut off.
Yeah,
Yes,
the shut off.
off.
Cut it off immediately before you do anything, but don't panic. Just think about,
That's
what do
right.
I need to do?
Yeah, you know, go through those processes, you know, and even talk with your kids. You know, if you've got teenagers that are home and something happens, walk through an emergency plan
Yes.
with them. You know, I had.
It's a good idea.
Our son had friends over, and they cracked cracked our toilet tank. You know, they didn't think about it, and here the tank is leaking all over the floor. You know, so
Wow.
think about those kinds of things. So it's as simple as shutting the water off to the
Right.
toilet. You know, so that it's not running. But you know, walk through those things with your teenagers and your children, so that
Good
they
advice.
understand. One of the other things is, you know, we hear so many fires during this time of the
Yes.
season, you know, either from heating, you know, from fireplaces or electric heaters, any of those kinds of things. Have an emergency evacuation plan. Practice it.
Yes.
Know what is your best and safest way to get out of the house. And, you know, really practice it with your kids so that they know, and have a
Right.
designated spot to go outside of the house.
Absolutely.
So, but
Oh, this
anyway.
is wonderful, Kathy.
So-
You always have wonderful, wonderful advice. So we appreciate that. It's, you know, just simply reminders to us, because we're so busy. Everybody's so busy. We forget about these things. So
We do.
We appreciate you coming and reminding us of all these things. And you have a Merry Christmas with you and your
too.
family.
You too. Enjoy your Christmas. and
Yes, absolutely. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in the new year.
Yeah, it'll be 2020.
That's right. New decade, new year.
So how can people get in touch with you?
As always, you can reach me at 252-266-4038. And Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll be right back.